never been seen. Not really. The version of you that your friends love, it's not you. You are the protagonist of your story, but in everyone else's, you're a blurry side character with bad lighting. A set of traits. A voice they remember wrong. A series of reactions they've edited into meaning. You're a shadow, cast by a myriad of assumptions. A mask worn in their personal theater. A ghost walking around in someone else's memory. And here's the uncomfortable truth about that. The fact of the matter is that you, in fact, do not exist. Identity. The sacred thing we're told to discover, express, and protect, the core of who we are, or who we think we are, isn't really what we think it is. What if identity isn't something that we have? What if it's something others assign to us? When you walk into a room, people don't see you. They see a template, a category, a vibe, and the mind fills in the rest with projection and memory. It's called the looking glass self, a theory from Charles Cooley. We don't see ourselves directly. We see the reflection of how others seem to see us. In other words, we build our identity by watching how others react to the mask that we're wearing. I didn't come to this realization by reading philosophy, at least not on its own. I lived it. And I think that very many of you also lived through something similar. I was in middle school. I got into a fist fight, one of those fast, messy ones that happen before you even know what you're doing. I was a student with straight A's that was focused. For the most part, other than this one incident, I stayed out of trouble. But after that day, none of that mattered. The teachers stopped looking at my grades. They looked at me and they saw what they expected to see. I was tall, bigger than most. I looked like the kids they already had problems with. And so they put me in this box, the problem child, the one to keep an eye on. It didn't matter that I wasn't. It didn't matter if that wasn't me. That's who I was to them. That's the part that stuck with me. Not the fight, not the punishment, but how quickly I disappeared. Not as a person, but as myself. They didn't talk to me anymore. They talked to this story they wrote in their heads. And I realized I could be doing everything right and somehow still be seen completely wrong. That was the first time I understood who you are doesn't matter if they've already decided what you are. That moment really never left me. It made me kind of hyper aware, careful, calculated even. I started watching how people react to me. I learned to adjust, to disarm, to cold switch, soften, shrink. I didn't want to be seen as dangerous or as an angry person or someone who's difficult. I just wanted to be seen right, to be seen correctly. But when you're stuck performing like I was, just trying to be anything but misunderstood, something in you starts to rot. You wonder if anyone will ever meet you without this mask. And what's worse is that you wonder if there's even anything left under it. That's the terrifying part. It's not that others reduce us to a summary. It's that we accept that summary. We lean into it. We become legible, predictable, branded in a way. You don't really show people who you are. You show them who you think they want to see. And this is innate. This is instinctual. We don't necessarily do this on purpose. From childhood, we learn to read the room, to adjust and adapt. Uh, Evering Goffman called it the performance of self. Identity isn't really stable, it's just a series of roles, is how he explained it. And when you think about it, you go out on a date, or you're at work, or you're with your parents. You're a slightly different person in each of those situations. And then you extend that further and you look at how we are online, and it's a full-blown identity cosplay. It's all about aesthetic, the label, the archetype. We say be yourself, but we brand ourselves in all of these different ways instead. We become actors in a play we didn't even write. We're auditioning for roles that we never wanted. And in that, there's this current, this undercurrent of people not seeing you and instead seeing themselves. People not really understanding each other's intent. And it comes down to the fact that they don't love you, they love the story they've written about you. Or they don't care for you, they care about the story they've written about you. Our brain uses so many shortcuts, like stereotypes, vibes, patterns. Every person you meet has this overlay of their expectations, and they put those expectations and put that overlay onto you. First impressions. The reason we say, make a good first impression is because first impressions most of the time become final judgments. They remember how you made them feel, not what you said. It's like a perpetual Rorschach test, and you've become a really skewed ink blot. And no matter how hard we try, or no matter how many masks we put on, you're not really perceived. You're interpreted as if you are a walking foreign language. There's this simulacra of self. You used to be a person, and now you're just a simulation of one. Baudrillard wrote about hyperreality. I know this is the second time we've spoken about hyperreality, and this has been in two different contexts. But hyperreality really kind of explains how the signs of something are replacing substance in this case. We don't get to show people our lives. We show them this strange Twitch-style highlight reel. And our online identity becomes the simulation layered on a simulation, because there's no original there. We've curated what we wanted to see ourselves, and then we've curated what we wanted to put on the internet for others to see, and then they've curated, or they've had the information curated for them via some algorithm, what they're allowed to see of what we've put out on. It's just, like I said, simulation upon simulation upon simulation. And eventually there's nothing left but only performance. You post a version of yourself so people can reflect on a version of themselves, and then that reflection comes back to you, and no one's communicated. It's a mirror game. It's a constant narrative trap. And in that trap, people don't just misperceive you, they help you trap yourself. Think about how once someone thinks they know who you are, they stop asking. Like if you think about how you interact with people who, let's say, acquaintances or coworkers at work, once they think that you are a certain way, they stop asking about how you would take something, or how you what your values or ideas on something are. They just say, oh, well, I don't think that, I don't think Milan would really go for that. We should look for a different option. And if you try to change, or you have, an opinion that doesn't match the perception that they have, overlaid on you, that feels like, to them, like a betrayal. It growth in itself threatens the stability of the image they've built. And, if you're really, really hardcore into trying to fit in, and trying to have this conformity that society is pushed on us, you kind of start to shrink to fit inside the stability of that image. You become a prisoner of the story that they told you was you. And worst of all, most people start to believe it. I guess my question for all of you would be, do you even know yourself? Like, really, really think about that. Do you know yourself? Do you know if there's nothing under the mask? Most of us have spent so long performing that we've forgotten who we are without the context of an audience. Our identities have become reactive and shaped by that context. Nietzsche said, become who you are, which implies you're not there yet. Simone Weil believed that attention, the ability to see clearly without projecting, is the one way to truly witness someone. But we rarely offer that attention, that witness to others. And even more rarely do we offer that attention or that witness to ourselves. It's, if you only ever existed inside of other people's heads, do you really exist at all? And I have to be 100% in my opinion here. You're not their memory of you. You are not the story they've told. You are not the echo of their gaze. You are what remains when no one else is watching. When the mirror breaks, when the labels fall off, when the narrative dies, you are still here. And maybe that should be enough. Thanks for traveling with me on this weird little journey of identity mirror maze craziness. Um, Remember, use your words wisely, live like meaning still matters, and as always, stay curious, stay sharp, and speak like someone's listening. I'm Milan, and this was But Why Though.